Hi, my name is Vincent Kusuma from Naval Astur University of Indonesia. This is the second part of my project about ink in groundcraft. As we know, there are two types of foil. If we use air as main fluid, it's called airfoil. And we use water or liquid, it's called hydrofoils. The purpose of both foils is the same, to generate lift. But there is a phenomenon called cavitation. Cavitation is phenomenon of changing the vapor phase of a fluid. Wickraft is an innovation to prevent cavitation that occurs in hydrofoil. Cavitation will produce bubbles that contain steam. These bubbles not only produce a loud sound, but can also damage the hydrofoil. Ground effect is a phenomenon where a foil flies close to the ground. When the fluid flows through the foil, foils will generate lift and drag force. Lift occurs because the pressure under the object is greater than the pressure above the object. Because the air flowing from high pressure into low pressure, this phenomenon creates a large twisting vortex. When the craft flies high above the ground, the vortex causes downward deflection of the relative airflow, and the lift vector tilts backward and increases the drag force. But when the foil flies closer to the ground, the downward restricted and the vortices restricted. It means no extra drag. The air pressure increases and generates more lift. This effect gets stronger when the craft is flying at the height of half of the total span. This is airfoil part. Leading edge is the front part of airfoil, and trailing edge is the rear part. And if we create straight line from the leading edge to trailing edge, that line called chord line. Chamber line is a line that divides equally between the upper and lower surface of the airfoil main chamber line. A maximum chamber is the maximum distance between the main chamber line and chord line. The maximum chamber position is measured from the leading edge as percentage chord. Maximum thickness is the maximum distance between the top surface and bottom surface of the airfoil, which is also measured perpendicular to the chord line. The force is a force that lifts an object upwards. That occurs because pressure difference on upper and lower object. By following this formula, we can determine the lift force. The lift coefficient is a function of dimensionless parameter that shows the magnitude of the lift forcing acting on an object flowing by a fluid. Drag is a force that inhibits the movement of a solid object through a fluid. It can be liquid or gas. The formula is similar to lift force. The drag coefficient indicates the value of the fluid resistance received by an object. The value of drag coefficient is depend on the shape of geometry. Now I want to analyze how ground effect optimizing lift force. This is my example of Wickraft design. To make the craft perfectly lift, we need minimum 42 kilonewton of lift. To simplify the calculation of lift and drag force, I use Autodesk CFD. Fy is the lift force and Fx is drag force. Now I will focus on the lift force. From this information, lift force and airfoil area and the velocity. Then we put into the formula. We will get the lift coefficient. Then, based on the formula above, to reach the minimum lift, the foils need velocity more than 161.9 meter per second. Of course, that speed requires a powerful engine. It means more engine and fuel costs. Then we compare to ground effect with the same velocity and angle of attack. Same as before, we get the lift coefficient 5.2. After that, we can find out the airfoils only need velocity 21.3 meter per second. Based on analysis before, ground effect significantly increased the lift force on the same velocity and increased the CL to CD ratio. The lift to drag ratio is the amount of lift generated by airfoil compared to its drag. The lift to drag ratio is used to express the relation between lift and drag and determined by dividing the lift coefficient by the drag coefficient. CL to CD ratio indicates airfoil efficiency. At the end of this presentation, I would like to thank you for your attention and to the people who helped me in completing this project. I hope this can be useful for you. Goodbye and see you on the next chance.